Welcome to the Denae Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental A-Team Podcast. Hello, Dental A-Team listeners. This is Kiera, and today is a super special day because I decided I wanted the Dental A-Team consultant team, so all the consultants, to get on a podcast today and kind of do I don't know. I feel like it's like the Brady Bunch right now. Like, here's the story of the 5 consultants. I'm not going to keep going. That's as far as I got. But also for those of you who are new to the Dental A-Team podcast, I thought it'd be awesome to intro who the consulting team is. We have incredible coaches on our team. And so I thought today would just kind of be fun to do kind of like a round table of who are the coaches and who are the consultants and where have they come from and what's their background. So I'll kick it off. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm Kiera Dent. If you guys don't know me, Dent really is my last name. It took 3 fiancés to get this last name, and I'm obsessed with dentistry. I started out as a dental assistant and then became a treatment coordinator, a scheduler, a biller, office manager, regional manager. I've owned dental practices. And then I decided, hey, if I could grow one practice from 500,000 to 2.4 million in 9 months, what if I could do that repeatedly for hundreds of practices across the nation and make happy teams? And so that's really become my passion. That's why we're here. And I'm committed to bringing on consultants who have that same passion, who have a similar, we don't all have the same backgrounds. We all have different experiences. But yet every single one of us have been dental team members. We've been clinical front office. We've been there, we've done it, and we've done it successfully. So on that note, we've got a killer team. And don't worry, I'm having all of them think currently of if they could give one tip to an office after coaching hundreds of practices, what would be a tip that they think you could take home with you? So on that note, Tiffany Trader is another one of our consultants, and we're just going to go in order of once you've been hired. So it'll be Tiffany, Britt, Dana, and Denae, because there's 5 of us. It could get really uncomfortable. So Tiff, you're up. Kind of just tell them, who is Tiffany Trader? How did you get to Dental A-Team? And what's kind of your background to be here?
Well, who's Tiffany Trader? There's so much to unpack there.
Loaded question.
So many things. It's a loaded question. Yeah. But dentistry, how did I get to the Dental A-Team? I started from the ground up. You guys, I started as a dental assistant in practice. I've done all of the things, anything you could label a front office as. I like to tell my practices that I've done everything except for hygiene and legally hold a drill. So I've never been a dentist either. So I say legally.
Have you done it illegally? I'm still going to MC
Allegedly.
Okay, we won't get you into that. Next, maybe that will be her tip. Who knows?
You guys, I live in Arizona, and a few of us live in Arizona, born and raised in Arizona, and it is the wild, wild west out here. I say that all the time. So what you want to go freaking goes. So allegedly, allegedly. But anyways, my dental career has been so fun, and I literally started as a dental assistant. I loved it. That's where my heart and soul and passion is, honestly, but ultimately was running my practice. And years ago, I met Miss Kiera Dent, and we were connected through a mutual friend, and we honestly just melded, and we realized we're really, really similar, and the most important aspect was that we run dentistry very similarly, and we knew we could grow this company together, and she presented this incredible offer that I could not say. She assumed the yes, you guys. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know what that means. She assumed the yes. She's like, I got this figured out. This is what your schedule will be, Tiff. And I was like, man, that sounds amazing. Let's do it. So I have been running around the country with Kiera, well, not with her, but, separately, but for 6 years. So that's how the Dental A-Team came upon my life. Honestly, the best decision I've ever made in my life. It is so much fun, you guys. I love telling practices my story when I go in person and I'm doing my meeting and I show up with all of my Kiera Dent energy that I possibly can. And I used to say, Kiera, she laughs at this every time. I used to say, Kiera and I, it was love at first sight. And then that got really confusing. It's not. It wasn't.
It was, but not. It was in a platonic way. Like, it was nothing more.
I realized 16 times into saying that it might have sounded a little different than it was. So we just
I know. And then you
hit
say
it
we run
off.
across the country together, and I'm like, TT, this could get real weird real quick, but
I
agreed. It was a
know.
good time, and it has been
Yeah.
amazing. And Tiff just has
Yeah.
an incredible background. She definitely left out the fact that she grew. Tiff, how big was your practice when you left it? And you were there for like 11 years. You grew up from like baby to exponential. What was kind of your dental history before you joined Dental
Yeah.
Team?
Yeah, I can take you through that. So when I started with that practice, when I was 19 years old, I was a baby, and I grew up with that practice. And we had one doctor who worked out of 2 rooms, and we had one hygienist. So we grew that practice, quite a bit. But then we took over another practice, a larger practice. So we had 7 operatories, and we had 2 to 3 doctors. We had 2 full-time doctors, my owner doctor and an associate, and then we had a floating oral surgeon that would come in, and a floating endodontist that would come in. And so we had 5 hygiene, running out of seven chairs. So we had 4 doctor, 3 hygiene. We would alternate those ladies. We had extended hours. So we grew our practice. I think when we were super small, I would say, off the top of my head, I believe we were just under 500,000 our first couple years together. And when I left, we were at about 3.8 million. I was with them for almost 13 years. And so I grew from baby 19-year-old dental assistant all the way up to business administrator, office manager, however you want to label it, of that practice. And we typically had anywhere between 17 to 23 team members, depending on our need and staffing situations. And basically what I did for that practice, and I love and hate it because it was a little chaotic, but I loved it because I got so much experience, is whatever we needed, whatever position we were short in, I would create that position. I'd see the need. I'd be like, gosh, we really need this fixed. So I'd see the need, create the position, create the onboarding for it, train someone to do it, put them in that position, and then move on. And so rather than getting stuck in certain places, I kind of created that, trained it. And then I got really smart there towards the end, and I had these rock star team members. They're twins, so it made it even better. And I love them. They're still 2 of my best friends, and they're fantastic trainers. Like, I do really well at consulting. You guys, my teams will tell you that. I'm an awesome consultant, but training is not my forte because I don't have a ton of patience when it comes to that. These girls, patient as ever. So I trained them to be the trainers. And so then they took over what I did and went from there. It was freaking awesome.
It's awesome, Tiff. Thank you for sharing that. And thanks for being here because I think you bring such a fun energy and love for it. So No BS Britt, Spiffy Tiffy has a nickname, No BS Britt. I'm working on Dana and Denae. Dana almost got one today joining the podcast, but
So
it wasn't my
close.
best work. I called her Daney. So you guys can all be thinking about that while No BS Britt takes the mic. And I need some nicknames for Dana and Denae. They'll come. So Britt.
They're kind of close together too, so we've got to come up with like different ones for both.
Well, there's no way we're gonna say double D because that gets really awkward for you two. Like, I mean, the ideas are flowing.
That's where we're starting out, guys. So come up with some other ideas.
It can only go up from here.
And now you see why I wanted the story of the 5 consultants today. This is behind the scenes dental aid team.
Awesome. This is the fun of what we get to do all the time. But my background, I say I grew up in dentistry. So my mom's a dental assistant. So, single mom, kids, it's not uncommon that I would end up at the dental practice from time to time, hanging out over there. And she'd sit me there with an impression and some stone and say, here, have fun pouring this up. So that was my start in the dental world of mom letting me loose in the lab. So so I grew up around the dental field, decided to go into hygiene. My mom's like, assisting is great, but like really go the hygiene route, like go do something else. So mom sent me in that direction, and I knew it'd be nursing or hygiene. So hygiene it was, better hours. I can handle the mouth. I don't want to deal with like other things that nurses
rectal trumpets, for example. Just curious.
All day long, every day. So did hygiene for quite a while in Arizona, and then also I moved out to the DC area, Arlington, Virginia. So spent some time, worked hygiene out there, and then decided, you know what? I don't know that I love hygiene. I don't know that I will physically do this forever. So let's start exploring some other options. So I ended up going to grad school while I was out there, studied healthcare administration, and wanted to go into more of like the management side of things. And so I had the great opportunity in a practice that I was already working in doing hygiene, getting the opportunity to take over as manager. And
Britt, tell me how that conversation happened. I need to know this detail. How did that conversation happen?
Well, you see, my manager had it pegged from the beginning of like, oh, great, you're probably going to be like my predecessor, like in the future. So I had her support in the whole thing, and she was awesome and was great to me and allowed me the chance to learn. But I for sure was a hygienist who, like, I had an understanding of business, but I had never worked front desk before, other than that hygienist that's like, sure, I'll help out. I'll make some calls. Why not? And so taking over as manager, I got to go sit down with my team who had known me as a hygienist and say, all right, guys, teach me how to do an insurance breakdown. And so I got to learn all the things when it comes to front desk from that point moving forward, and honestly just loved it. I love the business side of it. I had an awesome team in that office. We had 5 associates, so 5 doctors working. So I had a team of usually about somewhere around 25 people that we had on our team. And I loved focusing on the big picture, and I had awesome leaders there with me in that practice. We got to go through some fun experiences of like being bought out by a DSO and what that feels like, and kind of rallying the team after that experience and coming back together. But truly loved it. And after being bought out by the DSO, they were like, yes, regional, come on, let's go. And I'm like, no, that's not my future. I'm probably going the consulting route. Just know it right now. Like, that's probably going to be my future and where I'm going to go. And so I eventually did. I decided to come back home to Arizona, found the dental A team, which allowed me the chance to come back, be near family, and go into consulting. And it's been happy times ever since.
And just, I'll put it out there, Britt technically is on the consultant podcast here. She has shifted her role into more director of operations, which I think hearing your story, Britt, is such a good fit for you. So it's been honestly one of the best things we've done. So those of you who have Britt as your consultant, don't panic. She still loves you. But it's been really fun to actually watch your journey morph, Britt, as we've met you, see you as a consultant, and then morph into where I really feel you're insanely suited in a lot of areas, but just to watch your mastermind brain think in operations has been really fun. So, all right, Dana.
She's still
back.
D number 1. Can we call you like thing 1, thing 2? So it's like D number 1.
D1.
D1, D2.
It's like dental school. All right, it might work. D1, D2.
Also better.
Like,
I'm working
a Star
on
Wars
it.
name.
I know, like R2D2. I see some good Halloween costumes for you and Denae. But Dana. All right, Dana, you're up, girl.
Okay, let's see. I oddly love and hate going after Britt because we are so similar, eerily, but yet also very different.
You are.
So, let's see. I also grew up in a dental family. My uncle was a dentist. My mom was a hygienist. And I think probably what has pushed me and molded my dental journey is watching them and watching him. He cared about his team like they were family. He loved his family really hard, and he truly loved dentistry and his patients. And I don't think until I was older did I realize like that was somewhat unique, right? And his approach to everything was a little bit different or unsimilar to every dental office out there. And it's just really stuck with me and pushed me to really love dentistry because I see like what the potential can be as far as like a dentist's impact in their community and an impact on their team. And I remember as early as middle school, like filing charts in his office and hearing his team members like voice their appreciation. And I'll never forget, he got a new assistant and it was maybe like her first, second week. And I remember her just saying like, you have no idea how unique you are as a boss, as, you know, a dentist. And it's just really stuck with me. And so like Britt, I went to hygiene school. I did public health dental hygiene practitioner so that I could practice independently in Pennsylvania at the time. And you could do the school system or you could do the prison system. And at the time, school hygienists were kind of phasing out. I remember we had one when I was in elementary school, but you know, they're kind of a thing of the past.
They are. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, is this like a book club?
Yeah, when you'd like lose a tooth and you'd go see the hygienist and she'd like put your little tooth in a thing and she'd show everybody how to brush their teeth. And like, yeah, she came like monthly to the school. But that was phasing out even when I was in elementary school. So I went the prison system route. So I served in
totally the same vein. Little kids, little tooth fairy shenanigans to prison. Okay.
So quick turnaround, right? We're now in the prison system. So I served independently in the prison system, and then I moved across the country to Arizona. And so I always wanted to keep dentistry, right, as in my career. So I landed in a pediatric practice. And so I eventually, a few years in, became regional director, and I opened new pediatric practices across the country. So I would kind of scout locations. I'd help open them, and I train all of the new team members for every location. And when I started, there were 3 locations in Tucson and 1 in Phoenix. Then we ended up opening 2 more in Phoenix, 2 in Flagstaff. We expanded to Texas and then into Alabama. And then I switched my focus from dentistry for a little while to motherhood. But I love my children. I have 4 children, but like dentistry is such a passion that I went back, right? And so I became an office manager at a single dentist practice, and really went in and grew the team, grew the practice. And then I found the dental aid team. And it's been so much fun because I feel like I get to take the connection of growing up in dentistry and seeing my uncle and creating those experiences in practices across the country.
That's pretty awesome, Dana. You have had a wild ride. I didn't know about your mom and your uncle, so that was a fun new fact. I knew about the prison. And I also didn't know you opened that many practices. Sheesh, girl. That's a fun. I'm learning things about the dental aid team too. Okay. D2.
It's working.
I'll work on better ones.
I have been called all sorts of things, Kiera, including Shaniqua. So
Well, when
That one's
Denae,
my favorite.
when Britt was interviewing Denae, I looked at Dana and I'm like, so Dana, you know that this is going to get real wild. Like you two have one letter apart. Like, whew, all right, here we go.
yes.
It's almost like we have little twins here. All right, Denae, tell us your story. Who is Denae?
So my story. So I was a baby like Tiff. I started out in dentistry. I was 18. Random fact, I actually got a call from my sister who was working at a dental practice. And she said, Denae, we've got an office that's looking for someone to help answer phones. You should give them a call. And I said, I am not going to work at a dental office. That sounds so boring. I'm not going to answer phones. Like, I don't know anything about teeth. But I'll never forget. She said, Denae, they pay $10 an hour. And I was like,
sign me up.
Sign me up. 18-year-old me right out of high school. So that was my introduction to dental. I started out answering phones, started, checking patients in, checking patients out for a local group practice out in Arizona. And I did that for several years. But over the course of the, several years I was there, I eventually took on a lot of different roles. So I was a treatment coordinator. I did all the things, that the front office would normally do. And then I was given the opportunity to be an office manager. So I jumped at it. So I became an office manager for one of our locations, actually out of Tucson. And I did that for a few years, but we built the practice up to the point where we really needed to expand and open up a whole separate specialty office. So that's what we did. We went from a general practice that had specialists that were moonlighting in and out to being able to open up an entire specialty location while running a full-time general practice. I will cherish my time with that organization forever. It really, truly is what opened up the doors for me in the dental industry. But I had met my husband, who was at the time in the Air Force. So naturally, being like a military spouse, he got orders to relocate, so we moved. So from Arizona, I moved to North Carolina. That was where I took on a director of operations position for another small group practice. I did that for a few years. And then we got orders to move again. So then I moved again. We lived in Ohio for a little bit, and I stepped into a regional manager for a DSO. But I realized, like, my heart, my soul, my passion, really what drives me every day to do what I do is working one-on-one with like private practices, working one-on-one with the business owners and with the teams so that I can help them get the lives that they want, like help them live the life they want, get what they want out of the business. And so I transitioned into consulting. So from there, and that's where I've been doing consulting for about 5 years now. So that's kind of my history as far as like dental goes and how I got started in dental. And I can tell you there's nothing else I'll do. This is what I'll do for the rest of my life. I really, truly do enjoy like watching the difference that just being intentional about the things that you're doing, the difference that it can make, not just on your business, but on your life.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I love it. I just wanted everyone who's listening to meet the team. And as you can see, I've got really awesome people in my life, and it's fun to have all of us be here. So, consultants, I have a funny thing, and then you guys can tell your tips. If we were Kiera, Tiffany, Brittany, Dana, and Denae, all 5 of us were to go to a practice. Don't worry, all you listening, we're not coming. What role would each of us be? I want to know, put us all into a practice. Who's which role in a practice? And all of you listening, you can hit pause right now before we answer. Send it in hello@thedentalateam.com. Who do you think we'd all be? Let's put us all into a practice. What roles? And I'm curious, would we actually get along? Is my next follow-up to it. Because type A consultants, hey, Brittany Stone, I'm defaulting to you. Where are you putting all of us?
Okay. Tiff and Kiera are your assistant brains at heart. I joke about it all the time that I'm like, can you imagine them as assistants in your office? Yes, I can. And they'd be a great time. And they would make magic happen, right?
You would slay all day. You could fill a schedule so full. We could crush it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I think that's where you guys would be, assistants for sure. I feel like Denae would be your front desk master, right? The lead of the front desk team. That girl knows how to close treatment. She knows how to run a team. She would be running everything up there. It's hard because Dana and I'm we're such hygiene brains, hygiene or manager. I don't know. Dana, I think, is an awesome hygienist and loves her patients and cares for them. That I'm of course, Dana, that's where I would want you to be, is be my rock star hygienist who's also the best team player ever and make sure things get taken care of. Does that leave me in the manager role 100%?
100%. I'm let's just see where Britt places herself in this little scenario.
I love that she is scared to say where she thinks she should be because she hates doing that. I'm 100% you should be the manager.
Well, that's why I called on her first. But then I'm okay, Denae, where are you placing all of us? Because I'm curious. Denae's a very different brain than Britt. Denae, where's everyone going to be? Where are you placing all of us?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I would say Kiera, hands down, would be the treatment coordinator. Fun fact, Tiff had said that Kiera assumed the yes with Tiff. Kiera assumed the yes with every single one of us. As soon as she met us, she's yep, this is going to happen and we're going to make it work.
I did. I'm let me schmooze a few of you. Come along. Yep. You haven't seen where your life is supposed to be. I'll show you the path at Denae. Called Denae a couple of times, and I'm let's have some conversations. Yes. You don't know this yet, but you're Dental A team, so get ready.
Yep. Okay. So I would say Kiera's treatment coordinator. Tiff's, you're an interesting one, Tiff, because I feel I would put you as a lead dental assistant, or maybe just assistant manager who also was the dental assistant. Because you're absolutely amazing with people, and I wouldn't want to lose that part of it, right? Your ability to just speak to teams and to inspire people to see why is huge. So I would say probably assistant manager or some sort of dental assistant. I would definitely agree with Britt as far as the office manager goes. She's just got operations nailed down. I would say Dana, hygienist, for sure. You're so good, talking about perio protocols, really working on systems. And then for me, I could own a solid front office position. I could rock the operations at the front office.
Yeah.
With goals of eventually taking on Britt's role.
She's Britt, get out. I need your spot. Brett's sure, I'll train you. It's fine. I got some hospitals, some whatever. I don't know, Brett. I don't even know what your 5-year plan is. Okay, Tiff and Dana, any object? Do you think people should go in different spots? Or do you think no, they kind of nailed it?
The only thing I would say is with Tiff, I think assistant because of her efficiency-ness and her love of unwasted time. But I also think that if she worked in my practice, I would carve out some sort of community liaison position just for her to connect with other offices, referring offices, the community. Like, I'd carve that out just for her.
For sure.
Aw, you guys filled my bucket. Thanks. I think I'd combo me and Britt and Denae. Sorry. I think I'd put you at TC. That's the only change I'd make to Britt's.
Yeah, I might put Britt as like, depending on how big my practice is, I might put Britt as like operations and Denae as manager. I think I could see that flow working. If I had a small practice, Denae would surely be, I don't know, probably Denae at TC. Tiff, I think you'd be bored, but you'd make such an incredible scheduler, like, and greeter. I think you'd be bored at that job. So, but
I
I'm
had
like,
a manager
man,
put me in that position. She was like,
how long
tipped
did
me
you
from
last?
assisting. I mean, I lasted a little while, but I was up assisting all the time because I'd be like, oh, we can do that. We could totally do that. And I'd squeeze something in, and then I'd feel them behind me, and I'm like, I will go assist. I'll do it. It's fine. So like, I think I cheated the system. So I still got everything I wanted.
That's why I would want Tiff clinical, because I'd be like, Tiff, let's make this happen. And Tiff would be like, oh yeah, we can make that happen.
Oh yeah.
And yes, all day. I'd sell treatment all day in the back office. I'm like,
So now my next question is, Tiff, perfect position. Where would you be if you were back in a dental office? What would you choose? You get to choose any of them. Where would you place yourself?
Dental assistant.
Dental assistant. Brittany, where would you go?
I mean, operations for sure, all day, every day.
Not a hygienist?
No,
Dana.
I can do that, but
Dana, where would you put yourself?
Oh man, this is hard. Probably a hygienist. The other option would be treatment coordinator, but I feel like I get to do that as a hygienist too.
Yeah.
So probably hygiene.
Okay, hygiene. Denae, where would you put yourself?
I would probably say operations as well. I mean, maybe can I be an integrator, like a visionary integrator?
Yeah, you could. You totally could.
You can be whatever you want. She said this is our own.
She's like, listen. There we go. So the reason I brought this up is kind of fun because I think in offices, like, you hear a strong consulting team, and how often do we not put right people, right seats? And like, having people kind of see where should we fit and where should we shake? Because oftentimes, like, I think if people saw Tiffany, they'd be like, let's put Tiff in an office manager role. Can Tiff manage, and is she good at it? Yes. But like, what's her heart and soul? She loves assisting. And so there might be some other tangibles to it of she might want to do this or she might want to do that. But really, it's like, make sure your team is where people want to be and where they love to be is, I think, my tip that I would give of like, really, truly, I think when people are in right seats, right spots, and you have open conversations like this, find a way. If Tiff wants to make X amount of money but loves being an assistant, find a way. Like, it might not be possible, but find a way. Because honestly, if Tiff can be a duo assistant and TC in the back, that's freaking power. And she can rock and roll. And so just like sometimes we put people in wrong positions thinking that's where they want to go. And also team members, like, you could not pay me enough. I had someone offer me $350,000 to work 2 days a week in their office. And I said, heck no, I am not being your ding dang office manager ever again. Like, I asked Britt how much I hate doing. I'm like, Britt, you can have that combo. I don't want to do that.
I was like, Kiera never told us her ideal position in an office. Kiera, what's your position?
If you put me back in an office, well, I don't think I'm a good team member. That's number one. I think I learned that a long time ago when I'd like chew out the front desk of like how they schedule. Like, I always thought I could tell people how to run their business better. So that like did not make me many friends. But if I had to be in an office all day long, I would do TC. Like, I can sell to like, and it's so freaking fun. Like, oh yeah, you want to hit that goal? Watch me like blow that out of the water and have like 10x what you thought you could produce, and you're going to go home on time. Like, it's fun to do that for me. So that's probably where I'd put my managing. Heck no. But I'd only be a TC for like 1 or 2 days a week. Come in, do my thing, and off I go, Britt. Like, I'm a part-time TC.
1 to 2 days a week max. That's it.
That's all you get from me. But okay. Whoa. So with that, I just love this team, and it was really fun. And I was just curious of where we'd put each other. Cause sometimes again, you get all these team members in your practice and you don't know where to put them. So on that round table, I'm not like putting you guys in order. Just say a tip. Like, if you could, or do you want me to put you in order? I feel like I should have order. We're going backwards. Whatever. Okay. They all just gave me a head shake. No. Okay, fine. Denae, you're up. You got to practice. You go back in time to either yourself or you're consulting a practice. What would be one tip? And it's not like your top tip. It's just a tip. What do you think all practices could really benefit from your perspective?
I would definitely say know where you're going. Know where you're going. You know, yeah, you can get caught up in the day-to-day, the operations, the fires, putting all the things out. But if there's anything that I would recommend is know where you're going, know your vision, know your path, know what you're working towards.
I love it. I agree 100%. Okay, Tiffany, You're up.
My tip would be to track your metrics. I don't think that I knew how to track my metrics when we were a small business. And as we grew, like we had to try to figure it out as we went. And working with my clients on the day-to-day, that's something that I have all of my offices doing. All of my office managers have KPIs that they report to me, and I teach them how to see the trends. So that would be my tip. Track all of the metrics that you possibly can, and then look for the trends there within. And if you don't know how to do that, write in and ask.
Yeah. Hello, thedentalteam.com will help you. You'll become a wizard at it. Tiffany even taught me how to track metrics at the beginning. That's a fun fact no one really knows. All right, Dana, what's your tip?
Protect your culture. I really feel like culture is something that offices work really hard for, and I think protect it at all costs, whether that's team members, whether that's anything, just always protect it.
Cool. That's cutthroat and so brilliant. Like the times that I've had to make decisions based on culture, Dana. Oh man, thank goodness Britt does that now. I'm so happy. Get me out of that. All right, Britt, what's your tip?
Mine's kind of close to Dana's. I would say just remember that like good breeds good. So like be a good person, be good to your team, be good to your patients, and it truly is a key to success. I've loved watching, especially lately, some of my practices. They're like, I just have people reaching out to me. I don't even have an ad out. And you know in this market how difficult that is. And it's like it's because you're a good human and you're doing good things, and that breeds good coming your direction.
That's amen. Brilliant. Okay. Now I want to ask, I feel like I'm a host today. Like, all right, consultants, your next question is, don't worry, I just did Dental Team Survivor with you, and I feel like I'm back as Jeff Probst. So my next question.
Co-host is your like future like dream, isn't it?
I mean, it might be, guys. I could see myself on a TV show like, and here's the Dental Team consultants coming on up, like runner number 1. And then I like pair you with a practice, and you have to like 30 days. You got to flip that practice around. I wouldn't put you in 30 days. That's way too long. You get like 3 hours to flip the practice around. It'd be like a little mini traction. I think we could do it. So if you guys want to be part of Dental Team Survivor, just kidding, Dana. This is how ideas happen. Okay, next question. I'm going to roundtable, and then I only have 2 more questions for the consulting team, and then you guys can do whatever you want. But next question: why? Like, what fills your soul as a consultant? Like, what makes you just like lit up, super pumped? Like, I love this part of consulting. Tiff, I'm starting with you because I know you always have an answer on this one.
I do. Consulting fills my bucket. But why consulting fills my bucket is because it's people, and I get to change lives. And when I can see the change or the positive impact that I've made on an individual's life, like even down to my team members, obviously I get to change doctors' lives all the time. I make it so that your business is working for you, not you working for your business. That's one of my biggest mottos. But all the way down to the team members, when I can say something that inspires them to love what they're doing every day, or I can say something and they say, oh my gosh, I have to go home and tell my husband this, like, we've got to communicate better like this, you're going to fix my marriage. Those are the pieces where I'm like, this is so cool, because the little bit of knowledge I feel like I have that I can pass on to someone else that can truly change the trajectory of their life, that's an incredible, like, powerful bucket filler.
It's awesome, Tiff. Thanks for that. And you do a really amazing job at it. Like, I love to listen to your meetings because I take things away from them. So
thank you.
Britt, what's for you?
For me, I think it's when like clients, teams that we work with, they realize that something's possible that they didn't see beforehand, right? So it's either like, oh, we have grown this big business and we can expand into something else, or like, oh my gosh, we're short team members and they can't see past it. And then we get through it and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so much better now. Like, that's the thing that I love.
I love it. It's such a rewarding, that's got to be the hygienist in you, like getting that calculus out, like helping them see like what's possible. Definitely appreciate that. Dana, what about for you? What do you love the most?
I think for me, it's getting people to love dentistry and business ownership again, because a lot of times our clients come to us and they're not in like always the best place. Sometimes they are, right? And that's great. But I think I love when they're like, I love coming to work again. I love being with my team again. I am fired up to do dentistry again.
Oh, reigniting that passion. Like, so many times they want to give it up when it's really not necessary. It's just, we got to change this or that, and they'll love it again. It's beautiful. All right, Miss Denae, wrap us up. What is yours?
So it's no secret, Denae loves results. I love to see progress.
Me too. I got you, girl.
But ultimately what that is, like, yes, I feel super fulfilled. I get that, like, that fire is just lit up when I can see the progress that you're reaching towards those goals. because I know that means that you're getting what you want out of your business. That means that you've got the balance that you need to have a really fulfilled life and to really focus and take care of your team. So like for me, it's really about like changing lives. Yes. But what makes me feel that is when together we can see the progress.
Totally. Results all day. Me and Denae, I'm like, it lights my freaking fire when I can like come in and be like, okay, you're here and we grew you to this and you have a better life. Like, boom, let's not drop that mic and have a good time. Like, it's just so fulfilling. That's my hygiene calculus. That's why I was never a hygienist. Like, I'm not going to sit there and like look for the pennies. We're going for the like thousands, like easy add-ons. It's beautiful. Okay, I love this consulting team so much. So I want them to leave you all with like a random fact about themselves of like, what's something random about you that people don't know? And Britt, I'm coming to you first because you have the most random one.
Okay, so I can use that one,
Yeah,
huh?
of course. It's not us. It's like to the world. What do people not know about you? Most people don't know about you. I love this fact.
So my fun fact is I was a synchronized swimmer. I even won a gold medal in the Arizona Grand Canyon State Games. So like a significant one, I would say.
That is so random.
I don't know how to expect anyone to follow this up.
Like a legit synchronized swimmer, not just like she liked to water dance. Like legit.
She told me, can I still hold my breath for a long time? Absolutely.
How long?
A party trick to see how many times I can swim back and forth underwater without coming up for a breath. 100%.
How long can you hold your breath?
She wasn't scared when she was going down the rapids like I was.
Okay, so to Denae, to fill all of you in, we did Dental Team Survivor Retreat, and I sent the whole team whitewater rafting. I got sick. I think I conveniently got sick. I don't know, but Tiff, Britt, Dana, Denae, the whole team, and Britt like is going down the rapids with Denae, and if you saw the difference of their faces, Britt's like calm as a cucumber flowing down this like terrifying rapid, and Denae looks like she is about to die, like full.
I was dying.
But I do love that Denae, you just jumped in. You're like, I'm all in for this, and then it was like, shoot, I should have thought about this.
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay. So Britt, synchronized swimming, I think it's one of the most random facts I've ever heard of any human. And I love that you got a gold medal for it. That's another fact I didn't know about you. Okay, who's going next? Share your random.
Share your random. I'll share my random. I feel like I don't have, maybe I do have a lot of randoms that you could pull out for me. It's always hard when it's your own if you're not a synchronized swimmer. But I think one of the most random things about me is my whole like adult life has been spent, it feels like, in dental. But my first actual job, I worked for an insurance company as like a data entry person, is what I think I was supposed to be doing. But I honestly was there for like a year, and I have no idea to this day what I was supposed to be doing.
That is a random one, Tiff. I like it.
I don't know what my job was.
I love it. Okay, who's next? Who's their next random tip or trait about you?
I can go. So super random. I don't know if you guys know this, but to my family and my friends, me and my husband are known for he will karaoke Ice Ice Baby and I will do the worm. It's known. It happens quite often.
There's
to the point that it.
I can't wait. I wish I would have known.
Yep. It actually happened at our wedding, and I did the worm in my wedding dress. So
my gosh.
Not only that, but I just went to my niece's wedding, and apparently it really hit home for her because she did the same thing.
Aww, that's amazing. All right, Denae, we're going to need to have follow-up podcast with you doing the worm on the podcast. I think it's going to be excellent. Like you can surely. Absolutely.
With that.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Dana, what's your random?
Y'all, I have lived a random life.
Y'all.
So asking for a random fact from me,
y'all.
You will never know what you're going to get. So
True.
I don't think any of you know this. So I am probably the only person you'll ever meet who has run into a deer with her bicycle.
There's so much opportunity.
Tell me how.
Right?
I need to know.
I need like a backup story.
You don't say. I ran into a deer with my. How did you even get that close without them running?
Okay.
Was it alive?
It was a live deer, yeah. So growing up in Pennsylvania, I lived right down the road from a deer farm, and one of their fences got cut and their deer got out. And my dad he owned a construction company at the time. So he had a giant steel building, and I'm just like pedaling my bike, and I come around the corner of the building and there's a deer, and I just plowed right into it.
Okay, that beats synchronized.
Okay,
So maybe because I
didn't see it. Yeah.
So did your bike like make it out? Did you make it out?
Oh,
Like,
I made it out. Okay, my bike was mangled, and the deer literally just looked at me like, what was that?
He was like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's
Oh,
hilarious.
amazing.
Oh man. Well, okay, mine's not even half as funny. I don't even want to wrap. I should have gone first, but
Yeah,
my
you put
random
Britt
fact-
first.
I actually, well, I should have sandwiched Britt and Dana.
Yeah.
My random fact, I don't know. I was trying to think of one that this team wouldn't have heard. So if you do, I'm not going to think up another one. You'll just tell me you already knew. But there was a point in time. So I got engaged twice, which that's no secret. I technically got engaged 3 times. But after fiance number 2, I was sitting at home depressed. And my brother is a geophysicist. And he was like, Kiera, you need to come and you need to get out of this. And so I went and I actually worked at a geology firm for about like 3 months. And my job, no joke, they had these papers. They didn't want to pay for what's called a well printer, I think is what it is. So what they did is they printed out stacks, like reams of paper. And for 8 hours a day, I cut paper into the size of the well because it had like 2 inches on either side of it. And then I had to tape it together to make these log wells. And then I had to go on some weird database and try and find wells for them to drill in. I have no clue what the heck I'm doing. I just had to click things. And I told my brother, he's like, how's the job going? And I said, Evan, this is what they should give to prisoners. Like, I don't know why I'm cutting paper for 8 hours a day. So that was one of my random career paths that I was on for about 3 months while I was depressed. And then I met Jason and thankfully moved on to dentistry and back into dentistry. That job actually is why I applied for the dental assisting job again, because I got so sick of cutting well logs. And that's what got me back into dentistry. So,
Well, thank you, Evan.
Thank you, Evan. I know, right? So on that, I just wanted to thank the consultants. And for all of you listening, I just wanted to show you who the consulting team is, who are the coaches that coach your practices, and wanted you to see them as humans. Like from the random facts. So please, if these are your consultants, ask them. And if you want to request someone, if you want the worm, if you want the non-data entry, if you want the synchronized swimmer, she's really not available. Or if you want the deer runner inner bicyclist. That's who I would hire.
Everybody's like, nope, not her.
You know she's got more random stories in there. So you want her just so you can hear all the stories.
I think that's going to be our holiday party. It's just Dana's storytelling. So, but really, I just hope for all of you, like I'm so appreciative of each of you being here, giving your love to the clients. And for all of you listening, I hope that you actually do this with your team. Do you know these random things about your team members? Do you know what lights them up? Are they in the right seat in the company? Do you know where their history is and what's brought them to you today? And are you appreciative of the past? Like all those past employers, all the people that they've known to bring them to where they are today. So I'm just super appreciative of all of you consultants being here, for serving the team. And if any of you are looking for the experience, like as you notice, it's a very diverse group of experience, from DSOs to pediatric practices to opening multiples to taking it from small practices to larger practices to growing it exponentially to giving doctors back their lives and team members empowering you. That's what we're here for. So reach out, hello@thedentalyteam.com. Consultants, it was a wrap. It was fun. Thanks for being the story of the 5 consultants today on the Brady Bunch. But I just appreciate all of you. And for everyone listening, thanks for listening. And I'll catch you next time on the Dentally Team Podcast. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dentally Team Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.